Hey there guys, Tim here from Concise Tech. This is the Google Pixel 4a, and I'm going to tell you why I think this is the best phone to buy right now. So a little background. So growing up in my family and just the things we spent money on and what we had money to spend on, phones always were something that I never bought the greatest and latest and, all the flagship devices. Basically, when I was growing up, I got my first phone in high school. And that was where they were starting to do like kind of the prepaid phones and minutes and things like that. So I had a flip phone that had minutes and I think it was like 10 cents per text and all that stuff. Basically what I would get was I would get the stuff that Verizon would run a promotion where you would get it pretty much for free with your new like 2-year activation. I wasn't paying a couple $100s on top of that or anything. That's the kind of phone that I had. I did get a Windows phone. I think I got the Nokia Lumia 928 because that had a good camera. That's one of the things that I cared about. So taking us to this Pixel 4a here, a $349 phone. This phone is right up my alley. This is basically the phone that I would probably be looking at, honestly, if I was in the market for a phone today. So Google did send this phone over to me. They asked me to be part of teampixel and basically just said, we're going to send this to you. There's no strings attached. They said, the only thing we hope is if there's an opportunity for you to share some cool stuff about it that, you tag us and use the hashtag giftfromgoogle so people know that we sent it to you. So that's why I wanted to tell you that. I just want you to know where I'm coming from. This isn't a device that I got sent that's completely biased to me and I'm only going to say good things about this. This is a phone that Google sent over, and honestly, they might have seen that, I actually had the Pixel 2. This is the first phone I really bought myself that was a substantial amount of money for me. So I actually bought this on launch day, and up until just a couple months ago, I was using that Pixel 2 very regularly. It was my daily driver. I actually just got a Note 9 used on the Amazon Marketplace, Amazon Renewed, and up until about 3 months ago, I was using that Pixel 2 still. Like I said, this phone, the Pixel 4a, has a great price, great specs, and for somebody who is budget conscientious and you want the best value out there, I think this is the phone for you. So one of the things that Google has prided themselves on is having a great camera, and they do that with having just one lens, which they still have on here. This has just the flash and the one lens up top there. But the thing is, they have such great software that they're able to get great shots. They can still get great portrait shots, even with just having that one lens when you've seen other phones go up to having multiple lenses. So I'm happy to say you still get great picture quality on this phone as well. And it rivals bigger flagship devices. Camera on this phone is not like limited in any way. Unlike the iPhone SE 2020, this has a night mode. So you get full access to that. You get your portrait shots. It does great with nature shots and landscape stuff. It has great HDR. I love using this for shooting like flowers and nature. That seems to be like a lot of the stuff that I like taking pictures of. So I'm just very impressed with this camera. The other thing is this form factor. So I really do like this form factor. The Pixel 2, like I said, was what I was using prior to this, but then I did go to the Note 9, and going back from the Note 9 to this, I do love this form factor. And I threw a pop socket on the back here, but this is very easy to hold and manipulate. It's so dang light without having a case on this. This is just very, very lightweight. And I do have a couple of cases coming that I just wanted to try out with it. And I'm assuming with some of the more thinner cases that I am going to try, it's really not going to add a whole lot of bulk to this, but this is just very slim. Looking at the form factor and actually like the screen on here, there's not a whole lot of dead space. There's pretty much like no chin and no forehead on this. On the top, they still have a front facing speaker and for kind of your calls and everything as well. Compared to my Pixel 2 though, you can see how much more on this side here of bezel there truly is compared to the Pixel 4a, which you would hope for. But again, this is a phone that looks like a modern phone. It feels like a modern phone. It's very slim and you have a great camera included. Now the back on here is plastic. Honestly, I don't think that bothers me very much. It looks decent and it actually doesn't hold fingerprints terribly bad. So I put this skin on my Pixel 2. This was a honeycomb skin that I had bought from Slick Wraps. And this looked really well on this device, I think. I really liked it. So I think that is a thing you can do. If you really want, you can put a skin on the back of this. Most people, however, though, I think are going to use this with a case. So if you have a case on it, honestly, that doesn't matter anyway. People talk about designs on other phones, and half the time you're going to have a case on it. So I don't think that plastic back really matters. The plastic back is more durable, and if you were going to drop this, this is going to hold up, I think, a lot better anyway. There is one spot spot, however, that over here on the side with the buttons, I've heard people say that the buttons are some of the best part of the device because they are responsive and clicky. So you can kind of hear that there, which I agree. I think they are responsive. You know, there is that clickiness and that tactile feedback you get from the buttons, but also that is one of the areas where I have maybe had some quality concerns where I could just tell sometimes when I was handling this. I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear this. Occasionally I would be holding this and it would almost be like a little creaking type sound. So at first I couldn't tell that that's what it was, that it was kind of like the buttons there. So I don't know. That's really like my biggest gripe, honestly, with this phone, which I think is a very minor one. And then coming from the Pixel 2, coming from the Note 9, this has the fingerprint sensor on the back of the phone, which honestly I'm used to. I think it's quicker. That little ridge here just kind of guides your finger to it easily without looking at the device. You can unlock it, and that's something that I really like, especially, you know, in the climate we're in now with a lot of people wearing masks. This is something that in this day and age is kind of perfect release timing because that's going to be your most accurate option anyway. All right, guys, so here's a little bit of audio from my one video here. I'll just play here so you can get a little feel for the speakers. The company actually reached out to me and sent out to me directly, so I'm going to talk to you about it today and we'll show you how you can use it with your... So guys, I think that those speakers on here sound pretty good. They do have two speakers. You have on the bottom, you have a downward facing speaker, and then you have on the top kind of the dual purpose speaker up there, so it uses it for phone calls, but you also do have a second speaker up there for like a stereo effect. So the speakers are great. I really like a lot of the time on these Pixel devices, they've had those. On my Pixel 2, I had the frontward facing speakers, which I really liked. So again, that's going to be good for media consumption and for using this phone for things like that. So the other thing is this battery life is a beast on here. Going into my battery settings and looking at this here, it says full charge lasts about 1 day and 4 hours. It says screen usage time. Usually I'm getting about 6.5 hours, I would say, of like screen on time. I typically honestly go to bed with probably about 30% battery left on this still. Granted, I'm still working pretty much full time. I'm not too affected by the current, you know, stuff going on in our society right now. So I am going to my job. So I mean, I'm not like sitting on my phone all day. But again, that's a real life experience. I mean, I'm using the phone as I would and as I have over the past couple of years, and I'm going to bed with 30% battery life. So I think that's pretty darn good, and I'm really happy with this battery. The other thing is the screen on here is great. It's a 1080p screen, but it's OLED. I was honestly jealous by looking at my wife's Pixel 3a screen that she had after I had my Pixel 2 one. Looking at the Pixel 2 screen, the bezels are darker than the actual screen. It just stands out and contrasts so much. On here, the screen and the blacks are so much better. I have no complaints with this screen. Like I said, coming from the Note 9, which I think is probably one of the best screens there is out there, this screen is also a very good screen. And talking about that screen, this does have, you know, the little hole punch up there in the top left of the display. Does not bother me. It's something that I got used to pretty quickly. And honestly, one of the other things is with Pixel devices, you get those updates right away. You don't have to worry about waiting a couple of months like you do with Samsung phones and other phones. I love that about the Google devices. You're going to get all those updates immediately and you're not waiting around. I'm open to trying out other phones, other brands. I was really looking for Apple to release a phone like this. If they did, I probably would have bought it back when they released that phone. And basically, I made a video stating how I was disappointed. I didn't think that it was worth it. Had the Pixel 4a been out at that time, I definitely would have gone this route. I would have bought this phone. You get a brand new phone. It's $350. I don't know what more you can really ask for. I think, you know, if you are tied into the Apple ecosystem, then that's one thing. But if you're someone like me who's open to either, or if you are someone who is currently an Android user, this is an amazing phone. I can't see how you'd be unhappy with this phone. Like I said, camera's great. The battery life is great. It's got a good screen on it, good speakers. Honestly, I haven't had any issues with this phone, so I would highly recommend it. Like I said, Google sent this out to me to review. I've been a Pixel user in the past with the Pixel 2. I'll put a link down here below, guys. That's going to be an affiliate link that will help me out if you make a purchase through there, whether it's this or something else. If you're someone who's budget conscientious, you're someone who typically, looks around, kind of searches a landscape and goes with what you think is the best value, I think the Pixel 4a is the best value out there right now. Highly recommend it. If you like this video, guys, please leave a like down there below. Also subscribe for more tech reviews like this. Like I said, my name's Tim here at Concise Tech. I'll see you guys in the next one.